I found this interesting because everybody reacts in a different way. There's really no set way to deal with situations, and that's kind of what makes it radical. There's a lot of examples of this. One is in our own history, the Revolutionary War. When we had our backs pressed up against the wall, we didn't really know what to do, so we actually introduced guerrilla warfare. That kind of saved us, and that was kind of our radical decision. The first book I read was Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, and it's basically about a poor boy who comes into a lot of money from an unknown donor, and soon he becomes the hottest thing in London, and his father comes out of nowhere, and he's on the run from the police, and he asks for help, so he has to either choose to help him and lose all his money and his reputation, or lose his father that he just met. The second book I read was Beloved by Toni Morrison, and it's basically a slave who ends up going on the run, and she is chased down, and she has her children with her, and she makes a decision to kill her children because she doesn't want her children living a life like this. The contexts leading up to both of these radical decisions are very different from each other. There's not a lot of similarities. One's obviously more morbid than the other, and that was kind of the differences between both authors and how they viewed the lead up to this decision and kind of made that decision more effective. But the few similarities between these two books was that this decision was based off a family. So Pip obviously made his decision because it was his father, even though he didn't necessarily know him. And Zee, well, she had so much love for her children, she just didn't want her children in a world like that. But what I found interesting was the characters didn't know the outcome. It was very foggy. They didn't know if what they were doing was the right thing, whether Pip should help his father, and if he did, what would happen, or if Zee would end up regretting killing her children. And what I did observe was that the characters were, after this, content with their decisions. So the climax of the book happens, and then the, I guess, lead off was them kind of dealing with their decision and how it affected them, and they were both content and happy because they resolved a lot of their issues. But this did set them on a path that they really couldn't jump off of anymore, and they had to deal with the consequences and rewards of their decisions, and there obviously were consequences to both of these decisions, and that's what I found pretty interesting. But researching the subject, it showed me that this doesn't necessarily happen just in books, it happens all throughout history.